Previously on Ballvivor. Raya's elimination secured Maya and Emily on the bottom of the game, and after Jalen won immunity, Emily was sent home.
Emily, your tribe is over.
However, right before Tribal, Brayden found the elusive hidden immunity idol.
Guess who just found an idol? Guess who? Guess who? Because it was me. It was me.
The Final 5 challenge was a food eating competition where Brayden secured himself a spot in the Final 4. At Tribal, Jalen tried to pull a fast one on Carly, but the cast unanimously sent him home. For our left, who will be next in the season finale of Ballvivor?
All right, Brayden, I'm going to take that from you, and I'll be distributing this for one final time. Welcome to your Final 4 challenge and your last challenge in Ballvivor. This challenge is extensive. You will be receiving 4 places and things that you have to find on campus. These places, you will count what is there. Then you will come back to Park, where you will put in your numbers to these math equations. Once you figure out these equations, you will have empty spots where you put the answer. Then with your answer, so say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then you have a lock at the chair. You put in 1, 2, 3, 4 at the lock, it unlocks, you move on to the final part of the challenge, which is a Ballvivor puzzle that you have to put together. And first one to yell my name and shows me the correct puzzle wins. All right, your Final 4 challenge has begun.
Oh my God.
Brayden, first one back. Let's see if he has the numbers correct. Maya, second one back. Starting on the first math problem as well. Brayden working on the second math problem. 80, third person to come and start the math problems. Carly, also in here, working on the math problem, and we are down to correct numbers and correct math problems in this challenge.
Let's go recheck some numbers.
Brayden, gonna go check some numbers. First one to go back out. Did you make sure you counted every single item? Is where this is going to be key. Or is your math wrong? That's where things get really interesting. Carly, going to go check hers out. Nope, that way. She'll blink. 80, gets first one done. Now to work on the puzzle. Carly and Brayden back in to work on the math problems. 80 is here.
For sure, in my mind.
Carly moves on, starting for her puzzle. 80 says it's hard from 2 tables away. All right. One of these. Need all 4 combinations. Maya gets it. I think it was by guessing in the end.
Anybody care to give me the lock combo?
Brayden calling for help.
Anybody? Wait, what?
Anybody care to give me the lock combo or at least one of the numbers? I'm struggling here.
Which one do you need?
Well, I think I need number,
It's 9723.
Carly gives it to her.
grazie.
Might be this, who knows. Brayden moves on. We are now in a fight to the end on the puzzle. Hey! Your spot and final 3 is set. For the rest of you. For the rest of you, you'll be attending one more tribal council to figure out who is the last person voted out of this game. Otherwise, the other 3 will continue to the final 3 and have the jury vote for who the winner is.
So I made it. I made it to final 3. I literally haven't stopped smiling since last night. So that's just my feelings about it. I'm so excited. And the best part of not just me being in the final 3 is that Brayden's in the final 3 too. And honestly, I'm so happy Carly is too. Like, that final 3 is so, like, random, but so exciting because I love them. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so happy with whoever's gonna win. I'm happy with whoever it is. We're gonna fight it out, and it's gonna get a little crazy, a little nervous for that, but I'm a little nervous for what the jury's gotta say because now they have the power. But I did what I was supposed to do and made it to the final 3. That's the goal, right? I mean, you're working towards getting to the end, and I did that, and I can't believe it. It's insane. And something that was on my, I guess, quote unquote survivor bucket list would be winning an immunity challenge. And I did that, the final 3 challenge, which was like, I guess the challenge, if you're gonna win one, might as well just win that one. So I was so proud of myself. I literally wanted to cry, but I was like so in shock and so cheesy that I just, it was so fun. That puzzle did kick my butt a little bit, but I was so excited. Yeah, so I'm just really happy with everything, and it was so fun. I literally loved not every minute of Ballvivor, but most of it, in the majority. So whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna try my best to persuade the jury that I deserve to win, but it's not in my hands. I don't know how people perceive strategy and all of that, so best of luck to everybody in the final 3.
What a time, y'all. What a time. I slept amazing last night. Best sleep I've gotten in a long time. Which was crazy because of all the rumbling in my stomach. And quantity-wise, it wasn't amazing sleep, but I woke up and just felt like this heaviness of, whoa, you had amazing sleep. Like, slept through every second of it, you know? Like, didn't wake up a little bit in the middle of the night, didn't wake up, wasn't moving around a lot. I just woke up lying on my back, of all places. I'm normally like, whatever, y'all don't even know, but lying on my back, woke up and just felt refreshed. And I couldn't put my finger on it why, because I haven't felt that type of sleep in a long time. And I think it's because, you know, we had that vote and I'm in the final 3. Because I've spent all of this semester sleeping terribly, just like waking up in the middle of the night and stuff like that for different reasons, but stressing about this game in one way or another, You know? Even when I had immunity, or my immunity necklace, like, your plan could always go awry. And to know that I was there, that I'd done all I could, that I have 2 weeks to come up with good speech, which, by the way, I'm gonna spend this 2 weeks looking over every piece of footage I have, because that's why I've been recording everything that I can, so that I can use it now. Having that relaxation, I think, is why I slept so well last night. It was awesome.
So basically, right now, I am feeling really, really nervous, because soon we'll be doing final tribal council. Like, I knew what this all entailed and stuff, but it's just like really nerve-wracking, like being actually kind of like in it. Like, it's kind of like feeling like I've been wanting to get to this point for a really long time, but then now that I'm here, it's like do I actually want to be here? Like, I do, but it's like there's like some thoughts in my mind that are like, do I actually want to be like in this position where now all the eyes are on me and 2 other people, obviously, but like now, like, we're like the final 3, like last people standing, this is the farthest you can go in the game, and it's like now all eyes are like specifically on us. Like, it's kind of a lot of pressure.
All right, good evening, final 3 contestants. Congratulations, you have made it to this final day of your Ballvivor Season 3 journey, where one of you will be the sole survivor tonight. First off, we would like to introduce our jury. Lydia, Lauren, Josh, Raya, Emily, Jalen, and Mike voted out on last week's tribal council. All right, so these are the individuals that will be choosing your final end of life in this game. Will you become the winner, or will you be sitting next to them? All right, you will have 3 minutes, starting with 80, on why you believe to the jury on why you should win the game. Then going to Braden and then Carly, and after that, we will put your lives into the jury's hands.
So I came into this game a huge Survivor fan, so I've only kind of known about strategy from what I've watched growing up, and I kind of knew what it had to take to get to the final by watching like lots of winners, and especially winners at war. So I know I'd have to go out of my comfort zone, I know I'd have to take out threats, and I know I'd have to at least betray somebody to get here. If you like know me outside this game, I'm super socially awkward, and I definitely don't take risks, but I knew I had to do that to get here. So I am really proud of myself for that. So I can talk a little more specifically about my game. So on the first night, which was, you know, all of us here, we remember it, I made a final 3 deal with somebody. And that was really risky on my part because I didn't know how I was going to play the game specifically, and I didn't know how anybody else was. But I did that by making a final 3 deal with my Tie Destiny partner, Braden. So we had like a really strong alliance from the beginning, and we wanted to use that instead of using the Tie Destiny twist to our advantage instead of gunning for each other. And I think it worked out really well because I was fed knowledge from tribes I wasn't even a part of, like Solus and Terra. I knew where advantages were, I knew who people were working with, so I could use that when we met in Merge. And I think it worked out really well. I also think by getting 10 total votes throughout the season and still being here is a really good achievement too, because after the merge I was the primary vote for people I wasn't working with. And I think that's really good gameplay. Also being on the right side of every single vote besides one, and that was the Brian vote off. So I think that shows that I made good connections, I played a good social game, and I am really proud of that. And I think I tried my best in every single challenge, even the food one, whether it looked like it or not. I know that's a little questionable, but I won when I needed to, which was the final 3 challenge, which was probably my most proud moment of this game because that did guarantee me a spot right now. And I also want to point out that I'm the last remaining Luna tribe member, so hopefully happy to represent Luna. But I'd hate to say that I didn't make any enemies in this game. I feel like sitting here and saying I have no enemies is really ignorant. So I did want to point that out, and I am aware of that. But I feel like to be sitting here, and at least from watching many seasons of Survivor, you have to lie and you have to play kind of the dirty game. Because the goal of Survivor is to be sitting here at the end and potentially winning. And that's what I did by taking risks, getting out of my comfort zone, and taking huge threats out of this game. Everything I did in this game was strictly strategy, and I didn't do anything intentionally out of malice, and I really apologize if you guys took anything personally. I really didn't intend to do it that way. But I hope the vote tonight represents the principles of Survivor, which is outwitting, outlasting, and outplaying. Had to say that, sorry. Little Survivor nerd moment. But no matter how tonight goes, I want to say I love playing with every single person in this room, and production, thanks for letting me be a part of it. Because y'all don't know, but I was an alternative, so I technically wasn't even supposed to be here. But I am. I'm really happy with it.
All right, thank you. Brayden, you're up next.
Hey y'all. So if you have worked with me in any capacity, you know that I record most of the interactions that I've had. So I've reviewed a lot of footage to make sure that I'm very consistent with today. You all know I've lied a lot, we all have, but I've lied a lot in this game. I'm excited that tonight is going to be completely truthful. So if you hear something that sounds inconsistent with what I've told you, even you two, that was a lie that I told you. The thing that really got me through the game was my 2 alliances, which I made 2 alliances at the very beginning, first week. And that was my first alliance with 80, and then my second alliance with Carly. Other alliances I had one with Stips for a while, and I had one with Jalen. But other meetups weren't consistent to where I would consider them full alliances. It was all about these 2 girls, to be honest. The whole time I tried doing what is not supposed to happen in the game, which is build trust. It's a game that's not about trust. And I was able to build a pretty solid bond with these 2, where I was able to get a good bird's eye view on a lot of the stuff that was happening in the game. Let me think of some things I did. I worked hard in all the challenges that I could, except for maybe this one, which is because whenever I was given an advantage opportunity, I went for it. We all know that too, but I got a block of vote advantage when we did the rock climbing challenge because I had the fastest time in Solace. And I used that effectively when it needed to be used. Another thing, once we got into Terra, which I went into Terra very blind, hoping for the best, but also knowing that the numbers were in my favor with Stips, Carly, and 80 still having yet to pick up one of those boards that we had when we were switching tribes. When I got to Terra, 80 was telling me that they were planning on voting out Lauren, and I told her to vote out Kat. Jalen, you'll remember you approached 80 about that. I had convinced her to talk to you all about voting Kat. That's how I got that vote. I also approached Ryan later for reasons that will probably be explained about voting off Lydia when we got into the merge. Raya had mentioned voting off Ashton because of an incident. Again, it will probably be mentioned later. And I had mentioned Lydia, and we were able to pull the numbers there. I won a challenge, I found an immunity idol, and I hope that I'll be able to explain a few more moves that I did along the way. But I did what I had to do, and I was able to make trust, which is the one thing you're not supposed to have in the game. So that's why I think I should win.
All right, thank you. Carly, last but not least, you're up.
I came into this game knowing that if I was able to play my cards right, that I would eventually end up here. My initial goal was honestly to make it past the first week, so I'm actually really proud of myself that I got here. I'm hoping to explain some of the ways that I was able to do that. Definitely throughout the entire game, I played to my biggest strengths, which are being able to perceive relationships and kind of like understand the different dynamics within the game. I was able to build some of my own with that, obviously with Brayden towards the beginning. I made sure that I was perceived as somebody who was not a threat that needed to be taken out immediately, but someone who could be very useful as a potential ally. Brayden was someone who definitely saw that, and I felt like he was kind of someone who needed somebody to feel like he could trust, and I knew he'd be a good ally because I knew he was talking to all these different people. So he was definitely a big part of my game. Towards the merge, that was where my strength of perception definitely was able to kick in. I was able to see the different dynamics that I hadn't seen before, and I was able to kind of see where I could fit into those. I wasn't trying to constantly take the reins of everything because I didn't want to make myself seem like a huge threat, and I knew the people that were taking the reins who were super empowered in these huge threats and these lethal people that everyone wanted to take out but we just could not get out. I knew those people would be the targets, and so I tried to make myself seem like somebody who was not at that level. Someone who could be taken throughout the game, someone who could be relied on, and someone who could be a potential number. I also kind of relied on my ability to be very self-aware. Like, I understood how I came across to people, and I made sure to really rely on that, because whenever I would talk to people in different alliances, I wanted them to think that they could use me. And that was how I was able to get through all the way up until merge, and then I was able to even rack up the most immunity wins in this entire game. I'm the only person who's won more than one immunity challenge win. And so I was able to do that, and then to have all these skills underground, and then still be able to not be perceived as a threat, and eventually to be able to be taken to the top 3, have someone give me an idol so I can be in the top 3 with them, and have people that felt like my loyalty and what I bring to the game was something that they could take with them and something that wasn't a threat. But I mean, I think eventually I kind of showed that I was a threat, but they still decided to take me to the end. So we'll see if that was a mistake or not. But yeah, I mean, I was able to outplay with my 2 immunity wins more than everyone in the entire game, and able to outwit, outplay, and then I hope that I eventually can outlast these 2 by doing those 2 things.
All right, thank you, Carly. Jury, it is now in your hands, starting with Lydia.
So I guess my only question really is for all 3 of you, and I'm going to start with Lady to the side. It's the same question. So you need 4 votes to win majority off of jury. Who out of jury do you think will be those 4 votes for you?
That's a good question. Of course I've thought about it, but I think, I don't know. I think honestly the votes are really up in the air. I think we've all 3 played really good games, but I'm gonna give you 4 people, and I'm just gonna make it easy for myself and say the 4 Luna members.
Okay.
I'm just gonna flat out say that.
Now, out of those 4 people, which 2 played the best games, which 2 played the worst games?
Oh gosh, that's cruel. Honestly, I think Jalen and Raya played the best games. I'm sorry, guys. That's a really tough position.
Say the other 2 names.
Emily and Lauren.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Carly?
For the worst, oh my god, I feel so mean. This is
Say the first 4 people that you enjoy.
Okay, 4 people that would vote for me. Probably Maya. I'm hoping Raya. Lauren, and then probably Emily. The 2 worst, I mean, would probably be Emily and Maya. The best, Lauren and Raya. I mean, it's hard to say with Lauren because she didn't get as far as the rest of them, but as far as the 2 worst, I mean, you guys didn't play bad games. It was just Maya. I mean, you would have been sitting here based on like not making lots of moves, which is a strategy in and of itself. But I mean, if you were to be compared to like one of us, I feel like we would have a stronger argument for us. Emily, I mean, there are just like lots of different lies that I kind of heard of that were like about me a couple times. So I just feel like those could have been done just a little bit more, just a little bit better. So I mean, there's just room for improvement. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Raya, you like absolutely filled the entire game. Everyone was terrified of you, so that's why you probably would be the best. And then Lauren, I mean, yeah.
That's fair.
I think you do this. I don't know much about your game, but I just,
That's fair. Ready?
Sure. I've thought a lot about who's going to vote who. I really have no clue, but I'm based off of different assumptions on appreciation of maybe the way that I present myself in this. I think Jalen, I think Emily, I hope Raya, and I think Lauren too. As for who out of those four played the better games, I'm a person who really appreciates aggressive, like forceful gameplay, and Jalen and Raya really did that. So I think that there are other ways, and I didn't see much of Lauren and Emily's gameplay at all. So based off of what I was able to see throughout the game alone, I'd have to pick Ryan and Jalen out of that four.
And then I have one final question specifically for Graydon.
Okay.
Do you think, I don't know how to say this without it.
You can be
more aggressive.
You can hit me.
Okay. Do you think what you did during the ice block challenge lost respect for yourself and other people? Because I know I lost respect for you.
Do you care to explain why?
I just think it was gross and like it's not like
Sure.
appropriate, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I apologize if it made you uncomfortable.
It's not that it was uncomfortable. It was just like
Just gross.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then yes, I hadn't considered that. I had done a lot of work, especially that day, to make myself appear dumber than I really think I was. Like playing the piano was another example of it, where I knew people knew that I was wild and making moves, but I didn't want them to think that I was smart enough that I wouldn't listen to people. So that was my attempt. But I guess if people really thought that was really disgusting, which I also understand that, then yeah, I guess people probably did lose respect for me. No, I'm sorry.
no. Thank you for answering that.
All right, Lauren, you're up next.
Okay. First off, I would like to say, I don't know who all voted me back onto jury, but whoever did, I appreciate that. I feel very lucky with what?
I think we all did.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel very blessed and lucky to be back and to be sitting here deciding the final three. However, because of that, I'm not going to be as nice as I was before. And I know all of you said from Lydia's question that you all think that I might be in the majority for your vote. But I think before I make my decision, you guys are going to have to prove to me that you deserve my vote. So with that out of the way, we're going to get into my questions. And these are all just directly towards all of you. It's not directly towards a single person. First off, do you think your strategy evolved over the course of the game, or do you think it stayed relatively the same since the beginning? And I'll let Carly go first.
Can you read it one more time, sorry?
Yeah. Do you think your strategy evolved over the course of the game, or did it stay the same?
I definitely think it evolved. As I've been thinking about my entire game, I can kind of see like a cutoff at the point of merge. Before that, I definitely did not consider all the different people involved in the game. Like I think my ability to perceive started after merge and then seeing all the different dynamics and stuff. I think it definitely strengthened after that because I was able to put that skill to use. Because there's lots, all three tribes merged and there's all these different dynamics on each of them. And kind of seeing how those immediately shifted that night, I think I was able to see some of the cracks and then figure out where I fit into that. So I think it definitely became more complex towards the end of the game. Towards the beginning, I was still kind of trying to catch my footing and figure out how serious people were taking this game and figure out what people I could trust. And then I think I definitely kind of opened my options more post-merge and then started to consider like different alliances that I had not considered before. Like maybe I would never once work with her before merge, but afterwards I was like, yes, like I really want to work with her. So.
Okay. 80?
Yeah. I think I started playing really hard at the beginning of this game, whether it was shown or not. So I think my strategy was this, like, not evolved in the sense of like, what am I trying to say? I think like the visibility of my gameplay evolved. So like I was really quiet about how I was playing the game, and I was like being in the moment of Luna and being like, you know what, these are the people I'm going to work with. And then, yes, I always had Brayden on the other side, but I was like still in the moment. But then when merge happened, that's when you really start like showing your strategy. So I think it evolved in the sense of visibility. Okay, sorry, I know you're running out of time.
Yeah. So I came in with really no strategy. My idea was to look at everybody and try to build a strategy around the personalities that I saw. Eventually, I was always willing to maybe not work with these two, but as the game kept going, I started realizing how loyal and how much we would work together throughout the whole game. So it evolved in that I went from a more open player to increasingly less willing to work with other people, at least legitimately.
Well, I did have other questions, but we're out of time, so I'm going to wish you guys the best of luck with the rest of the jurors, and we shall see how the cards fall.
Thank you, Orange. Josh, you're up next.
Hi, friends. Don't look so scared. I only have 2 questions. Okay, so the first question is, instead of defending the game to me, defend the game to yourself. Pretend there's a mirror in front of you and tell me how you defend your game to yourself. Start with...
I think I'd look at myself and say, talk to myself, be okay with the game you played. Like I said, I was out of my comfort zone a lot, and it takes a lot out of me to not feel guilty about saying one lie. Like I joked with Carly, I lied to her straight to her face on that merge feast, and I admitted it to her. And I was like, I still feel like, oh my gosh, please don't hate me because I lied to you about that. And I should just be proud of the game I played. I really put myself out there, and ultimately I am proud of the game I played, and I just need to tell myself that because I can be really insecure sometimes. So.
Harley?
I would say to myself, you worked your ass off in this game. You did the best that you could with what you had. You definitely held back in a lot of ways strategically to get yourself this far in the game. You showed lots of your strengths. You showed your intelligence, your self-awareness, and your ability to perceive social situations, and you still made it this far in the game. And I'm very proud of you.
I would say to myself, and I think I did at a moment during one of my confessionals, of just, I'm very proud of how you played this game because you came in and you did the thing you said you were gonna do. I thought I was a lot more socially awkward. I still have moments where even though I'm very confident when I come up to people, I question everything I say. And I wondered how that would end up in a game like this, even though I came in a little confidently. I never thought that I would have been able to build a bond with Jalen so strong that I would be able to convince him to give up a challenge, for immunity. That's a bond. That's a friendship in some ways, and I didn't think I had that in me, but I did, and I'm proud of that.
Cool. Second question, football and Lydia. Lydia and I were the only people that none of you mentioned us. Either our strongest player or who we thought was going to vote for you. We'll go Brayden.
Sure. Well, to say who was the strongest player, you would have had to have been in the 4, right? And with you and Lydia, Carly and I had talks often where she said that you two were suspicious of me, and I didn't have enough conversations with you to be able to read your presence. Like I had some with you early on, but I was still always very self-conscious and worried that I was being read in a negative light. So I don't know, I figured that you would maybe appreciate their games more based off of what I had heard from Carly. So that's why you weren't in those 2 and couldn't have been the stronger player out of that.
Yeah, I think, the last time, you were sitting in these chairs next to me, I was, a big part of getting you voted out. So, a day before, I had told you that we were voting Emily, something different, and, I felt like your feelings might have been hurt because of that, because I know you were talking to me about being top 3 with you and Maya. And so, while I didn't say 100% I was going to do that with you guys, I know that there's a potential for that to be kind of hurtful. So, yeah, that's for you. And then for Lydia, I don't know. I feel like you might have voted for these two. That's kind of what I was thinking instead of me. So yeah, that was just kind of like the vibe I've been getting from you. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll address Lydia first. I don't know if we've said more than maybe 5 words to each other, so that's honestly why. I think the only reason if honestly both of you vote for me is if you really are gunning for them and being like, I don't want them to win. Because we were never on the same tribe. We were on the tribe for maybe 2 weeks because of merge and stuff, and we just really didn't talk to each other. And maybe it's just because our paths never crossed, or I mean, I never reached out to you, you never reached out to me. It was just kind of one of those things. So I don't know if you would vote for me because of that.
Other part was, why didn't you say Lydia and I were strongest towards the game?
I didn't know that was part of the question until after I said the 4, so I'll give you that. I don't know.
That's it,
All right, thank you, Josh. Raya, you're up next.
Hi guys. I wanted to start off by saying I had some kind of connection with each of you throughout the course of the game. I made a play with every single one of you, and standing up here now, I'm thankful for that experience with every single one of you. It was a pleasure to play with you guys. Amy, you kind of already addressed this question in your speech, but I wanted to know what part of your guys' game you're the most proud of. I'll start with Amy.
I'll say, I mean, that final 3 challenge, I get so stressed in those challenges. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be embarrassed. I started this puzzle first, but I'm really gonna end up getting beat by somebody else. And just knowing that I made the final 3 was just such a proud moment. So I'd say that.
I'd say the part of my game I'm most proud of is not letting my emotions get in the way of like what's the moves that I made. Like Stips, I really liked it. He like made me die laughing every time I hung out with him and stuff. But I mean, I had to get out of here for my game, for my advancement in the game. 80 lied to my face. I was really salty about it, but then I realized that she would be a very good person to keep close, and she was really helpful for my game. Josh, I definitely really liked him and wanted to go far with him, but that just was not, like our interests were just not aligning. Like, that was just not going to happen. So yeah, I'm proud that I didn't let my emotions get in the way, because in real life I'm a very emotional person, very sensitive. So yeah, I'm proud of that.
I think I spoke on it a little bit, but just with these two, one of the hardest things was knowing that they were my end game and I wasn't necessarily theirs the whole time. Carly was talking to Josh and Lydia for a good time, and Adi was talking to you and Emily and Jalen for a time, and I remember pre-merge talking to Adi and her saying, man, it'll be really hard to choose between you all in the end. And that made me realize I'm not necessarily guaranteed with either of these people. So the proudest thing the thing I was most proud of, English, right, is I was able to find ways to get rid of their other opportunities. After she got rid of Stips, we talked about getting rid of Lydia, mainly because Carly told me to my face that Lydia was the person she was closest to. So I needed to get rid of her people, and then I also broke the relationship from Adi and you all when we first tried gunning for you. So having broken those relationships, I guaranteed their relationships and alliance with me. That's what I'm proud of.
So I'm gathering a little bit that by you 3 having an alliance together, you kind of manipulated the game to take out everyone that was a threat to each other's alliance, and it kind of ended up with you 3 there. So it's kind of a cool way for it to end, I guess. But I have one more question for all of you. We all experience a lot of emotions on this journey. What is the biggest thing you'll take away from playing the game?
I think that I can just, I can kind of, this cast is just such a diverse group of people that I've never met. And I think that hopefully in your guys' eyes, I got along with you, but it was just really cool because I would never have met them and probably ever been friends with them. And same with you guys. I mean, Jalen and I carpooled together, and we were like, I would never, I never thought that would happen. So I think just meeting new people and, what was the question? I'm sorry.
It's okay, we'll go on. I have one more I want to ask, so.
Do you have what your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, your biggest takeaway,
yes. Yeah. I think I just really surprised myself. The fact that I was able to get this far and possibly even win this whole thing. I just surprised myself. So I think I realized about myself that I can do a lot more than I thought I could.
Rest and give yourself space when you're mentally overwhelmed. I found myself in a lot of situations where I was mentally overwhelmed, but I'm very passionate and nerdy about this game, so I didn't give myself the proper rest, and that was the biggest turning point when the merge, when I realized that I needed to start doing that and actually took that into action.
Then I have one last question, it's just for AD. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but we also had an alliance that started on night one. So I guess my question to you is, I know that you were getting the same loyalty from me that you were getting from Brandon. My story never wavered with you. I never told you a single lie in the entire game. So my question is, why Brayden over an alliance with me?
See, from what I gathered from everybody's perspectives on people in this game, it was everybody thought Brayden was shady. Everybody said that. I think I even said that. I was like, yeah, he is shady. I mean, look at the guy. But then every time they did, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. No, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry, I really didn't mean it like that. Anyways, but then when people were talking about you, they were like, Raya's playing this game so well. She's competitive. She's making alliances with everybody. The fact that you had an alliance on Luna and Terra was like a threat to my game because I was like, well, she could go with Terra, which I mean.
But he could have done that.
Yeah, he could have done that too, but I think it was just the fact that people were receiving you two very differently, and I was like, you know what? Everybody like gets along with Raya, and then nobody really trusted you. So that's what my perspective was, and I was just like, you know, I had to do what was in my eyes best for my game.
Okay. Well, from my perspective, people were saying the same thing about Brayden. I was working with him and I was working with you. And yeah, I wouldn't have written your name down until you were done. But I love you.
Yeah,
all of you. So good luck, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. Emily, you're up next.
Hey, besties.
Or maybe not, because respectfully, y'all suck. You just said that you had my vote, and then you said I was the worst player. You suck for that one, honestly. So, wow, ouch. But I only have a couple questions, because biggest regret? There's one. Which does have the biggest regret of the game, maybe?
I don't know if I've had regrets more as like guilt, if you call that the same thing. I mean, every time I had a lie, I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna see me as a horrible person after this, and I was mostly thinking of that personally, but then I was like, you know what, I can't think about that, this is a game, stuff like that. So I don't think I have any regrets. I think I would if I wasn't sitting here, if that makes sense.
It's not kind of surprising, but my biggest regret probably would be voting on Brian as the first vote, because that had no like effect on me. Like, I was really just doing that so I didn't stand out immediately from the crowd and be like, no, we're not doing that, because everyone wanted to do that on Solus. So I'm just kind of disappointed in myself for doing that, because the rest of the votes were things that actually benefited me when I was on the right side of the vote. So yeah.
I think the skit would be my biggest regret. And I stand by the logic of it, really, because we all genuinely did think that Raya had an idol at the time. And I think that working with Raya and trying to make her comfortable was a good move. But afterwards, I was so emotionally drained from it all, and I couldn't really pinpoint why. I think there was somewhere in us that we were confident enough that she didn't have an idol that made the skit feel very needless. That being said, I've done a lot of things in the game that were kind of needless. Like, I started the game by talking to a bunch of people I knew that also followed the Ballvivor Instagram, just in case they were going to be on this game. It's not very out of character for me to do something wild like that, just in case. None of them were in the game. But like, so I understand the logic behind what we did and why we did it. But I guess that would be my biggest regret, because I think it put a lot of people in a mindset that I wouldn't wish on myself or on people.
That's fair. Everyone's acting chops could use a little work. And lastly, my favorite question, our wonderful prize of $50, what are you going to do with the money? Quite kind of know.
I have my answer, because I just bought a mattress and I just bought an apartment and signed a lease, so I'm just gonna put that right in the bank account because we're struggling.
I'm probably gonna put it on my dining plus, because I've like, it's so sad. They say like there's over $9. It's so sad. So yeah.
going straight in Merton's wallet, going straight in his pocket. I lost a scholarship recently, which, let's be honest, this isn't going to be too much of a sob story because $50 is not going to help the amount of money a scholarship would do. But it'll go to college because that's what we're all spending money on.
Thank you, friends. Good luck.
All right, thank you, Emily. Jalen, you're up next.
Hello, everybody. A little unprepared for this. As we could all probably imagine, I'm a little unprepared. So I guess a question that can go specific is, what did my relationship to mean to you guys individually? Like, how did I affect your game?
Ooh, good question. I mean, we were
Well, I didn't mean to you, I guess, how that
in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we were day one. I mean, I think Alliance members, and we used it as far as, you know, sorry, but until you got out, and I mean, it was, oh gosh, this is a hard question. I mean, we were a good alliance, and like when people were gunning for me, you didn't ever write my name down, and I really appreciate that because after week of my name being written down, you could have flipped and you could have gone with the other people, but you did stay loyal to our alliance, and it did mean a lot. And it did, I mean, one of us had to go in the 4, and it's just sucks that it had to be you.
Our relationship didn't really start until merge. Yeah, and we're tied Destinies, so that's obviously like an immediate relationship, but because of that, I definitely was trying to keep you like as someone close to me, just because of the tie Destinies twist. You being in my alliance definitely made me feel like a lot more confident in my position in the game, because I know I kind of like had taken you from the 2 over there, like, so you're definitely like a source of comfort for me in this game. Yeah.
You're a homie. Yeah. You are. But I knew immediately when you had reached out to me and when we had talked, you had told me that you had been playing a docile game at the beginning and that you wanted to start in the merge to make bigger moves. And by that point, I had already been in alliance with these 2. So I had planned on getting the 4 of us together at some point, and that's how we were able to go to the end. I think that you eventually became a threat to me only because I had a conversation with Emily where she made it sound like people viewed us as the people, quote unquote, running the show. And I didn't like that. So if I felt like the jury viewed it that way, then I needed to get rid of you, so you became a threat inevitably to me.
All right, thank you, Jalen.
He was up there for a minute. He was.
There you go.
The first question I'm going to ask is just, what do you think the lowest point in your game was?
Sure. Lowest point in my game? There were 2 moments that were very similar. I think the lowest point was when I spent a whole Sunday trying to get people to vote Raya, and I had the plan set out. All I needed was 4 votes, and I tried getting Jalen 82. And they were willing to, but they wanted to bring Emily into it. And I didn't know Emily, so I was like, do we have to though? And then they did, and Emily kind of spilled the beans, you know? And when that happened, I knew that everybody was changing their votes from a split between... I knew people were changing their votes from a split between Carly and I to just me, which would have put me voted out. And then Ashton left the game. So by all accounts, I should have been voted out that night. I would have used my block vote and it would have come down to a tie, but that was probably my lowest point because I knew what was going to happen. And we would have all been gone if Ashton hadn't left.
My lowest point was probably that whole week where I just knew they were going to try to vote me out. Like, the vibes were terrible. Like, no one was trying to reach out to me. And then I was feeling like I was doing a good job of making myself not seem like a threat. So when that came out, I was just like, okay, I guess I'm not doing as good as I thought I was doing. And so having to like scrape the last minutes trying to figure out like who's getting blindsided, and then that didn't work. And so we're trying to get Ashton, and all of a sudden it's Brayden, and yeah, that week was just a lot. And, yeah, that was pretty.
My lowest point was that Sunday before Ashton got left, because my two closest allies, which were Raya and Brayden, were gunning for each other. And I got a phone call from Raya, and she called me and said, "Why are you voting me out?" And I just started bawling. And that was the lowest point for me because, one, I mean, I got caught, and it sucks for me, and that was just a really hard day. So that was my lowest point because I did let my emotions get the best of me.
Next, I'm just going to ask, when did this alliance between the three of you originally form? Because I know that all three of you had alliance with several of us, but you abandoned those for each other. So, any of you can answer?
I'll start with, I don't think I actually had a solid alliance with anybody. I had briefly talked to Josh in Solus. We talked about a vague alliance, but I had already made my competent alliance here with them. So any other alliance besides the aforementioned Jalen and briefly Stips, these were always my necessity people, the people that I went to. So that, I don't know, that's my answer. They were always my alliance. Bringing them together was a merge thing that happened, and I was able to kind of pin people off one by one so that they would eventually join. Nobody knew that was the plan.
Well, for me, the first moment I saw this whole line starting was kind of catalyst of all that stuff that happened in the day that she was just talking about. I could just immediately see that schism that had happened between you two, and then you and Jalen. And so seeing that, I was we need to capitalize on that immediately. And so yeah, I was kind of putting a bug in her ear, sort of being wow, I can't believe they were so mad at me for doing that, all this stuff, and then trying to get her closer to me. And then him, I really wanted to get him close to me post merge because he's my Destiny, and I didn't want to vote me out for an idol clue. So yeah, I think Brayden tries to take credit for putting all that together, but I think we all kind of did that. We all saw the benefit in being together as a board.
I remember the exact moment we all actually made an alliance, and that was when, after the Ashton vote, when Brayden and I were walking out there, and we saw Jalen and Carly looking for the idol, and we knew that we were all kind of on the outs because, everybody else voted together, and it wasn't a vote that night. It was, it was just kind of obvious who was working with who and who didn't want to work with who and stuff like that. I feel like that was a definitive moment. So when we saw them, we were like, oh, we'll just join you. And then we just started talking, and we're like, okay, let's just see where this double tie Destiny Partners ends up. And yeah, I think it was a very cohesive, mutual alliance thing, and I don't think one person covered it.
All right, thank you, Maya. All right. Closing remarks from each of you. Make it quick, make it sweet. I got you for a minute. Aiden, you can start.
I really hope, again, that you vote on gameplay and ultimately who you think played the best game. And I'll just reiterate what I said. I played a really risk-taking game. I took out alliances. I orchestrated the Jalen blindside, which I thought was honestly my biggest move in the game. And that was just definitive on me sitting here and who I can beat, or who I had the best chance of beating. But I played a good social game talking to a lot of people instead of trying to just have one singular alliance and sticking to it. I tried to see who I can work with on different tribes and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm just rambling, so yeah.
So I think I've played a big game, the biggest game of us three with an idol that I didn't need to play, with a win, maybe not 2 wins, with constantly grabbing different advantages in front of everybody's faces, and people thinking I'm a threat but never getting a vote until Maya's final vote. Trust was the name of the game, and I did make it with these 2 people where I spent time with them outside of the game to make sure it was there. Trust with Carly so deep that I don't remember who it was, right? It might have been you, but I had planned on voting Carly out. And then later that week, I told Carly that she was the one getting voted for, and that's when we started bringing it towards you. But when y'all brought it up to her, she didn't believe you guys because I built that much trust in her. Same with Amy, so that's why I think I deserve the win.
I mean, yeah, this game is definitely a social game, but it's also a very individual game. Everything I did was in order to get me further in the game. All of the relationships that I built were people that I knew would take me to the end, and people that I knew would not try to vote me out and knew I was an asset to the alliance, but didn't see me as a big enough threat to eventually get out. I feel like I really capitalized on all of the skills that I have. I mean, I was able to understand all the different alliances around me and seeing where I fit into those. I was able to make Brayden kind of feel like I was like his little person that was just there the entire time with him. But I mean, I was definitely able to use him and his loyalty to the point where he eventually gave me an item and still didn't want to vote me out even though I had more immunity wins than everyone else in the game. I feel like I was able to juggle the outplay aspect and the outwit aspect, and I'm pretty proud of how I played. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I outwitted and I outplayed, and I hope you guys can help me outlast these two. Hey.
All right, well, that concludes our jury versus contestants talk. The hands are now yours. With Lydia, you will be the first to vote on your winner pick. All right, I'll go tally the votes one last time. All right, well, I will read these at the reunion show here in a little bit. Congratulations to you three on an awesome season. It has been a pleasure being your host for you guys in Final Three, jury, pre-jury, everybody here. It's been a very fun time, fun season. And I can't wait for the reunion show to spill all the tea and let's just have a good time together. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming so much to tonight's Ballvivor Season 3 Tie Destiny finale and reunion show. Well, now is the time everyone has been waiting for and why most of you are here to see the winner